Hi guys. Okay, so we are going to get into some probability. You will probably hear the Tower Garden watering happening in the background. So sorry about that. Let me get my pen color here. Let's go purple today. We are going to make sure that we get as far as we can in the time that we have. So you want to work efficiently, but also accurately. In the note packet that you got, you should be on this page, which is the very front, simple probability and its complement. As I go through this, you're going to fill in all of the information that I fill in. If you need to pause, please do so, but don't miss anything. So, simple probability and its complement. Probability is the likelihood. So we're going to write likelihood of an event happening and as expressed as a number between 0 and 1. So make sure you fill those in. It's kind of like, well, what are the odds of something happening? So it's the likelihood of it happening or not. If you remember from the Math Antics Edpuzzle, you saw this scale that went from 0 to 1, and in the middle of it was a half. In the video, he talked about the different terms that could go on to this scale. So if we are looking, I want you to label these. If we are looking at a 0 in the probability scale, that means it's not gonna happen. No matter what, it is impossible. So by the 0, I'd like you to put the word impossible. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be writing a little bit over things. As we move away from the 0 and start moving our way to the 1, excuse me, that means there's more of a chance of it happening until we get all the way to a 1, and that is 100% for sure it is going to happen. So that is certain. So your 0 is impossible, never going to happen. Your 1 is for sure it's going to happen. Now, right in the middle of that, as it implies, midway through or halfway means, well, it could happen or it might not happen. It has an equally chance of happening or not happening. So we call that equally likely. So on yours, write equally likely. All right. Now, if I'm at the equally likely part, that means it could happen or it could not happen equally. If I work my way towards the impossible, that means the closer I get here, the less likely it is going to happen. So this is the area that's kind of like, well, it's unlikely. It could happen, but it's unlikely. So we're going to put that unlikely right in the middle. And then likewise, when we start at the midpoint and we work our way up, the chances of it happening become greater. So yeah, it might not happen, but chances of it happening are likely. So likely goes right in the middle there. I want you to quickly make sure you have all of these words in. If you need to pause before we move on. Okay, scrolling down a little bit on your paper, we're now going to use these real life situations and make a decision whether it's something that is impossible to happen, certain that it will happen, or maybe somewhere in the middle. So we're going to read examples and label with either certain, likely, impossible, unlikely, equally likely, etc. So what are the odds of getting wet if you jump in the pool? That's definitely for sure going to happen if you jump in a pool. So we're going to be at a 1 for that, and it is certain. It is going to happen. What are the odds that you burn your dinner if you cook it too long? Well, is it for sure 100% going to happen? Because I know people who have cooked their dinner too long and it didn't burn, it just gets a little yucky. So, is it certain? It's not certain, but is it most likely to happen? Probably. So, we're going to say that that is likely. Next one, water boiling at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, if you know the boiling point of water, there is only one temperature that could be, and it is not 75. So 100%, it is impossible that that is going to happen. So write impossible. Number 4, getting a ticket if you're speeding. Well, I'm pretty sure we've all been in cars that have been speeding and we haven't gotten a ticket. So it's not necessarily going to happen. But if you're speeding and there's a cop there, you're likely going to get a ticket. So we're going to say that one is likely. Although we could argue that might be a 50-50 shot. Next one. Scoring 2 points on a safety in a football game. Well, if you're a fan of football, is a safety something that happens very often? It does happen, but it doesn't happen very often. So that's more of an unlikely, which means it could happen, but it's just not something that you see. You don't even see it 50-50% or half certain and half uncertain. So we're going to say that's more of an unlikely. A coin landing on heads when it's flipped. If you remember from the video, when you flip a coin, you have 2 options, and it's equally likely to be a heads or a tails. So that one would fall right in the middle, and we will call it equally likely. Make sure you write these down. If you need to pause, do so now. Okay, for our next section, Steve is going to randomly select a jelly bean from a bag. Use the information from the table to complete the sentences. All right, let's take a look at this jelly bean bag. In this bag, he's got 24 lemon, 16 buttered popcorn jelly beans, 18 blue raspberry, and 12 toothpaste flavor. Gross. So that whole bag is full of these. So we would want to add them to get the total if we were being asked questions about those. But right now, we're just going to use the flavors and make decisions. So Steve is half as likely to select a what jelly bean than a what jelly bean. All right, let's go ahead and do our addition so we know how many total jelly beans are in the bag. 24 plus 16. You can do this on the side. 10. Now we're up to 40. I got to add that 18. So now I'm up to 58. And now I got to add the 12. So in the bag, he has a total of 70 jelly beans. I'm going to clear that away. So if you need to pause before I clear it, make sure you pause. So we know that there's 70 total. I'm going to write 70 total over here. So Steve is half as likely to select a what jelly bean than a what jelly bean. All right. So something that would look like it would be half. Well, I see a relationship between my 24 and 12. I know that 12 is half of 24. So it looks like Steve is half as likely to select a toothpaste. Jelly bean than a lemon. So if he only had toothpaste and lemon jelly beans in the bag, when he reaches in, he's got half of a chance to get the toothpaste as compared to the lemon. All right. Steve is 2/3 as likely to select a what jelly bean than a what. So I'm looking for a ratio that would be 2/3. So I know it's not the toothpaste and the lemon because we already knew that that was half. I could take a look at some of these other ones to make a ratio out of it. I'm going to help you out a little bit on this one, and I'm just going to tell you which one it is. Buttered popcorn and lemon. So if we looked at the buttered popcorn over the lemon and we simplified that, that would simplify to 2/3. So we could say, I'm just going to write BP for buttered popcorn and then L for lemon, just to save us time. And then the last one, Steve is 75% as likely to select a what jelly bean than a what jelly bean. So we're now kind of looking for that 3/4. 3/4 is 75%, if you're wondering where I got that. So this one, if I take a look at my toothpaste, I'm going to put T for toothpaste, and my buttered popcorn. And off to the side, I'm going to show you how that worked. My toothpaste was 12. My buttered popcorn was 16. And if I divided each by 4, that would get me 3/4, which I know is 75%. Okay. Take a moment. Make sure you have all of this information in. Pause if you need to. You can cross off number 8. We're going to skip that, and you can go to your next page. All right, so now we're going to talk about simple probability and complement. So simple probability is the ratio of successful, so write the word successful, outcomes to the total outcomes. So this is like a part to whole ratio. You're going to see that connection to what we did in the beginning of the year. So our example, when we say P, that means the probability. And whatever we're looking for the probability of goes in parentheses. So if I was going to write that as a ratio, the probability of A is whatever A is over the total. Complement, the probability of an event not occurring, so write not in nice big letters, is the complement. So it's kind of the opposite of it occurring. If something can occur, the opposite is it not occurring. The probability of an event and its complement have a sum of 1. So if something is like a coin flip, 1 out of 2 chance it's going to be heads, and 1 out of 2 chance it's going to be tails. So 2 out of 2, which gets you 1, is the complement and the simple probability together. We write the complement a little bit differently. That little line right there is called prime. It's A prime. So it's the opposite, really. So it means not A, or not the event, over the total. Still a part to whole ratio. Let's now put this into context with these examples. So number 9, what is the probability of choosing a marble with stripes, and what is the complement of choosing a marble with sparkles? Well, we have the P for probability, so the probability of stripes. And I see that there are 1, 2 stripes out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. So there's a 2 out of 6 chance, or we can simplify that and say it's a 1 out of a 3 chance. Now the sparkles, looks like I've got 1 with sparkles, 2 with sparkles, 3 with sparkles. I think this one is plain, so we're just going to say 3 sparkles, and our total is 6. Then it's asking me the prime, which is the idea of it not happening. So if I look at my 3, 6 for sparkles, I also know that 3 out of the 6 are not sparkles. So the same likelihood would apply. And I can simplify that to 1/2. So 1/2. So the odds of you getting a sparkle one is the same as the odds of you getting something else. Let's take a look at number 10. What is the probability of spinning a heart? Well, I see 2 possibilities. And out of my total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 out of 7. The next is the probability of not a diamond. Remember that little apostrophe means not, or the complement. So I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 diamonds, but I don't want that. I want how many are not diamonds. 1, 2, 3. 3, and my total stays the same. There's still 7. So 3 out of 7 is the complement for that. Here is your job. You have number 11, 12, 13, and 14. You are to work independently on those. Bring them to me to get checked. If you make it through the check, you will be allowed to go on to the next activity in your self-paced guide.